Hey guys, welcome back. John Megacycle here, playing another classic game that really was an iconic RTS for me, really starting off the game, Utopia, Creation of a Nation. This game is one of the forefathers for me. It was like, the way it was described to me is like SimCity on space and dealing with aliens and economy and stuff like that. Really enjoyed it. I got into this, what was this, says 1993? That probably sounds about right. I rented this game from Blockbuster more times than I can count. Just to really date myself a bit here. This one, I guess, to really explain it, like I said, it's really SimCity, but in space. I mentioned before, I don't know if I've released the videos yet, but this game was created, and then the spiritual successor to this was a game called K240. And the spiritual successor to that one was a game called Fragile Allegiance, which is another one of my absolute classic favorite RTSs of all time. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to at least play a game of Utopia, maybe a bit of explaining. This is just one of those classics, and this is one of those videos that I don't care if I get any views at all. It's really, I enjoy this stuff so much, and this is a game that I really wanted to share with you guys. And I already hit the wrong button. No, that's not at all what I want. What is the button to change to the menu? Okay, hang on. Boop. Boop. Everything's all screwed up. I don't know why this happens every single time. So, those look right. A, B, X, Y. We happy now? No. What is the button to get to the other menu? There we go. Oh, it's B. All right. So let's start from absolute scratch again. Start new game. The game has several, what is it, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 scenarios including practice. These are all different worlds. The way this story goes is the world needs to expand. Overpopulation, not enough resources, that sort of thing. So you're the colony leader, and you're trying to set up a colony on these planets. These are in ascending difficulty. Gamma is the most difficult. I usually pick these whenever I played. I played them all, beaten them all. Again, this is a scenario where it's been like a decade ago. But again, this is still one of those games I really enjoy coming to. I really like to pick them based on the music. Each of them has a different music track. So let's try Benezar 4. Yeah, I'm down with that. Let's go over down here. First of all, we have the pause button. Right next to... Oh, what did I just do? No, blow that up. I have to get re-familiar with the controls. I'm going to go ahead a little bit first. This is the build menu. These are all the structures that we can create throughout the game, each serve a purpose. I'm not going to go into heavy detail, but at least a little bit. Flux pod increases the range you can build buildings. Laboratories for research. Radar, fairly self-explanatory. Hospitals, the first thing we're going to be building. That allows you to control the population growth rate. Very important. Laser turret, I'm not going to explain that. Living quarters, not going to explain that. Missile launcher, launches missiles. Alright, now you get the level of explanation I'm willing to give at the moment. Security, also same as police force. Hydroponics, growing food. Fuel tank holds fuel, which is produced by the chemical plant, and we'll figure that out later. Arms laboratory turns rare or raw ores into weapons. Shipyard builds aircraft, not boats. Solar panel, power production facility, fairly straightforward. Store, exactly what you think, it's a warehouse. It looks like a store though. Like it looks like a shopping mall. It's not the case. Tank yard also takes ore and turns it into tanks. Or actually, this takes weapons and turns it into tanks. Workshop, that's your industry right there. That's where people go to work. Launch pad is for the shipyard. That's for your aircraft. Command center is the most important structure in the game. If you lose it, you cannot trade. You cannot speak to your advisors. You lose a lot of functionality there. Life support produces O2. It sucks in the atmosphere and converts it to oxygen. Power station are massive production power facilities. Sports complex for leisurely activities, try to give people a break, that sort of a thing. Helps with your quality of life. And the mine. So that actually produces your ores. I'm going to go ahead and plop down some hospitals immediately. The way this game starts off, you don't have the capability to change birth control rate, and it's always on low to start. So I just plopped down a few of those. They're a bit expensive, but no big deal. These are your spy reports. We don't have any spies, so we don't have the report. This is your radar map. It has a lot of information, fairly straightforward stuff. It has color coding per... Oh, no, I wasn't done. I wasn't done! It has a color coding per the structures and types, and we're going to cycle through if I can remember what button that is. It shows what structures are being built, what key structures are available, that sort of thing. Is it this button? Ah, very cool. Okay. The light ring is our radar. The grayish blocks are blocking land masses, and the black is just stuff where we can build stuff. Here's our military, command center, gun turrets, tanks, that sort of a thing. And so there's the 3 cycles. So we've got our basic, we've got our resources, and we've got our military. Not a bad deal. The numbers are waypoints, I didn't mention that. This little happy face guy is our advisory board. We have everything. We've got our civil engineer, tells us what structures we have constructed. We'll also give advice. Medical facilities are limited, blah, 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 I already built them. We have a head of research. It tells us how to allocate our funds. Make sure that we get a good tech level. Quality administrator tells us how much we're producing, storing, and usage. Running risk of power shortages, because it's the first month. So every month, I'll go through these first. Financial consultant tells us how much money we're bringing in, how much we're spending, that sort of thing, tax rate. You made a loss last month, construct more industry. This is our psych advisor, yeah, senior psychiatrist. Tells us basically what people are doing, the density. Yeah, see, if you see near the bottom, there's the birth rate. Do I have the mouse? No, I don't. That's the birth rate. Births last month, deaths last month, population density. That's what we need to change. We need to crank up the birth rate so that way our people make more people. So we have that sort of thing. Colony's developing well. It's rare for him to say. And our supreme commander, which is our military advisor, effectively. Colony's developing well. No advice this time. Okay. They will know things more than you will. So, for example, the Supreme Commander will say, I highly advise that you build more tanks. It is imperative you build more military, lasers, whatever. He's kind of giving you a hint. Even if you might not know what your enemy's up to, these guys are paying attention on a different level than you are. So it's not a bad idea to come here and check up on them. Dollar is our actual economy bits. This is where we mess with other stuff. I'm going to change all these to 100%. These are the economy, the units we have on hand, and how much we're keeping. Let's say, for example, we're overproducing on food. I'm going to cut down our keep to 40%. That means we're only keeping 40% of what we produce. 60% is being thrown away. We're not even collecting it from the farm. It's just being discarded. And the reason for this is if you're overproducing, you don't want to keep your stores full of food. Because if they're full of food, they're not full of ore or gems or weapons or tech, or they're not full of other stuff you might need. But since we're starting off, I cranked these to 100%. Here's our tax rate. I mean, fairly self-explanatory there. Military, civilian, and spying grants. These are monies that we just put, or buckets we put monies into if we want better research or that sort of a thing. In addition to that, we also have the capability of, oh yeah, this shows our breakdown of our men. They're just called men. They could have used a better word like people force or manpower or something. I don't know. Anyway, these are the people. This is what they're producing, that sort of a thing. And then finally, we have the ability to trade. The commodity, the units, the cost, and any supplier demand. Fairly straightforward stuff. Now that I've gone through all the most of explaining, now we're going to try to do some work here. So we have a very simple base to start. We have a couple solar panels. We have some hydroponics. We have some stores. We have some residential facilities. It's fairly simple pickings to get started. A radar, a flux pod, not much else to say there. So once the hospitals are built, we're going to change our population growth, and we're going to go ahead and build some residential. Now, the way this game operates is everything updates on the end of the month, so, or the beginning of the month, I guess I should say. So there, January 29th, 30, 31st, and then 1st of February. Now, if we go through, we can see that, like, trade, for example, has changed. So we have some cost, some supply, some demand, that sort of a thing. The trick here is when the game starts fresh, all the prices are at 0. So now that the game is really starting, I pick up weapons, I pick up tech, I pick up gems. This stuff just explodes in price. So this is a nice investment policy early on. I'm not going to buy food. I always overproduce on food anyway. So, the main objective of this game is, in the upper left, I can't scroll up there, in the far upper left is our QOL, or our quality of life. We win the game when our quality of life is 100%. That's going to be managed by a couple of ways. Do we have enough places for people to live? Do we have enough food for them to eat? Is there enough air for them to breathe? Is there enough security? Are there murders or crimes? Entertainment. Do we have sports complexes for them to spend their leisure time? Yeah, I tried to build it. Don't have enough. Do we have enough sports complexes for them to relax and enjoy their time, their time off of work? Do they have enough work? Do we have enough workshops, enough industry? It's the making sure that people get paid so they have that money to enjoy themselves and make sure that they feel safe and secure and protected. It's fairly straightforward with most of these kinds of games. In addition to those games, though, we also have an alien threat that we're going to identify later and deal with. So this is one planet. On the other side of the planet is this alien species. I still don't have enough. So like I was saying, everything calculates at the beginning or the end of the month, depending on how you think of it. That also goes to birth rates, that goes to crime rates, that goes to everything. So yeah, see, now we could have made money if I bought that up. But like I said, things are starting to skyrocket, so I'm going to pick up all the gems I can. I'm going to keep my weapons in tech. No big deal there. This game is really slow to start. I'm going to give you that preface right away. This game is a little sluggish to get started. Change that to high. Thank you very much. But the thing of it is once it really gets kicking off, it gets kicking off. Like, it gets absolutely crazy. So residential was our next biggest issue, because we were already at 66% density. And can I build? No, I can't. You only have so many people to do so many things. Once you have laboratories and factories and security and people are hired for those jobs, they can't be builders. So let's see, is there... No, that was the wrong stinking menu. This one. I think? Yeah. So here's the breakdown of what people are doing. Only people that are available can be builders. Everyone else just eventually gets hired on. Even though we just built 3 hospitals, people don't fill, like, the job isn't immediately filled with hospital work. Was it you? No. Who told me about, well, I think it's in the trade menu, actually. Yeah, we built 3 hospitals, and they just finished this turn, I guess, or this month. Oh, excuse me. So this isn't going to say whatever the capacity is, like 30. We're not going to get 30 doctors immediately. Oh yeah, that's right. Another thing I forgot to mention, you can only trade once a month. But what we'll do is we'll check, and it's a certain percentage. So I think we built 3 hospitals. That means 1 doctor per hospital per month. So I think we'll get 3 doctors this next turn, or this month, or whatever. So also the first of the month is when you collect taxes. So when our money jumps or shrinks, that's what that is. So I was able to build a hydroponic facility because we now have some people coming in. New people are being borned. Still 0 in the hospital. It must take a while to get that revved up. I can't quite recall how that works. We're getting a good amount of food. I only wanted to build that 1 extra facility. Sell. No, I don't want to sell anything. Buy tech at 9. Why not? That's still a pretty good price. It's not going to jump like crazy, but that's still not too bad. Okay, so I've worked on that. Next is... let's do some scanning for some resources. I think that might be next. It's been, like I said, a while since I played this one, but I'm still happy to play it over and over again, even if you might, the viewer might not even watch or might be annoyed or whatever, but this is just one of, like, my projects. This is just for me to do. Oh yeah, right, not enough colonists. Just because I changed what structure I wanted to build doesn't mean there's more colonists magically. Housing developments, I think, take a month. Hydroponics take a month. It's all rated in days. Like structure creation and going to war and using war machines and stuff, that all takes days. Like it's a day and they'll move or whatever, but in this case for construction, I'm just kind of regarding it as months. There, that's more than enough of that. Build this out as far as I can. Nope. Come on, controller. I threw away that Xbox One. Well, I didn't throw it away, I'm just not using it. This Super Nintendo controller, Oh, okay, so yeah, 12 squares of a flux pod. So this is the limit right here. So that was actually a good guess on my part. So the flux pod allows us to expand. The radar allows us to see. So the radar actually is also going to do our, let's call it seismic penetration. It's what's going to do the surveying for us. We just need radar visuals. Oh, out of power. That's that little beacon means. So power stations are an excellent choice considering there's also the chance of eclipse, exactly like I was going to say. Awesome. These power stations require a crap ton of people to build. They're polluting, but they're solid. They'll do the job for us. Okay, cool. I can actually trade. If you're out of power, there are certain functions you're unable to do. I'm happy. I'm happy. Gems at 12? Yes, I'll buy them. You kidding me? Absolutely. Yeah, it takes a little bit to get things up and running, like I said, but once we have like enough power and we can get our living spaces and everything figured out, then we're going to be moving on to producing weapons of war and scouting the enemy and seeing what we can do about that. Depending on what scenario, they're going to be a little more aggressive or less aggressive, or take to the sky, or they'll do certain things about it. They'll either come on ground or they'll have more armor, whatever. And the cool thing is, each of the spy reports are written very, very well. I was happy with this when I was playing this on the Super Nintendo. They do a good job explaining like the entomology of it, or maybe that's not the right word, but it's like these are large insectoids with 6 limbs. And they go through and they explained enough. I mean, for when I was a kid playing this game originally, I thought it was pretty cool. Now, the solar eclipse is over. We're still out of power. Yeah, see, now I'm completely out of power because it checks at the end of the month if I have enough power. So even if these power stations come online, I'm still kind of screwed. That's just how that works. I can't check. I also can't talk to my advisors. I can build stuff. Can I see the radar? Okay, I didn't even know if I could do that. Doesn't matter because the radar's offline. See how it's not gray anymore? I don't have those gray circles. That's kind of the issue with that. And power stations take an ungodly amount of time to build. I think it's like 60 something days or 89,000 days or something. 70 days. I wasn't even close. I was kind of close. It doesn't matter. Either way, this is going to take care of our power for a very long time. Considering we're just building a lot of light structures to begin with, we should be pretty good. This is going to provide 100 megawatts of energy. Now, to reduce the pollution of those structures, what we'll do is we'll do research. Research is what's going to curtail the pollution. It'll also make other structures like our workshops or our industry much less polluting. Also, I think a little more efficient later on. Research is also going to give us... Yeah, see, I'm still offline. And you'll see, even when the power plants... Oh, there we go. Oh, the solar powers came online. Even though it takes a whole month or whatever. There we go. Sell food. That's a nice, what, 3,000 we just got a kick? 18? Yeah, I'll still buy gems at 18. I'm going to wait on buying way too much other stuff. But gems are always worth stocking up, especially, like I said, early in the game when the economy is a little wacky. Do I have my radar yet? I don't. Doggone it. Okay, so we have some security centers. We have our hospitals. Those are looking pretty good. I'm going to build next maybe 3 or 4 stores. And that's going to give us all of our warehousing that we'll need for a while. So that way we can produce food for a little bit. Power. See, now the power plant came online. I still am underpowered. Oh, come on. That's okay. In what, 13 days, 12 days, 11 days, whatever, we'll be fully online. That new power plant is a real blessing, especially this early in the game. Expensive. 10,000 credits is really a pain, but I think my colonists like to have lights and other things that require electricity, so not a bad investment. Hey, 2 power plants online. Best sound ever. Okay, once in a while, Earth will give us offers. In this case, Earth offers you 43 men at a cost of 100 credits apiece. Total cost 4,300 credits. What is your reply to Earth? In the beginning of the game, we start with 100 people. So just to give you an idea, if this was January 1st of this year, 2090, we would have a 43% increase if we did this deal. The game is still very early on. I always accept. So Y for yes. That gives us a lot of extra workers, a lot of builders. That gives us a lot of good potential to start the game off. I really like that. So we have our storage over there. I'm going to put a little industry here. And then, like I said, we're going to start working on our commodities. There we go. 3 is a good start. Like I said, since not everyone can get hired day 1, I'm in the wrong menu. Since not everyone can get hired the day the factory opens or whatever, there's no point in building like 80 of them or what have you. Ore deposits, fuel, I don't see any deposits at all. We're going to move over here to the right and see if we see anything. Flux pod and radar. I'm not going to defend these facilities too hard. I just really want to see what's out here. This stuff is space moss, that yellow stuff on the ground. Later on, we'll get a structure that allows us to interact with it. It's actually an easier way to get oxygen. There we go. That should be it. What I always do is I blow this thing up. It's the landing pad. I don't use spacecraft until later. Or aircraft, or whatever you'd want to call it. But I don't bother with that stuff till much later, so I don't really see a need to have it around. I don't know if it requires energy or something, but it's just something I don't like to bother with. Okay, almost the end of the month. Did we already trade this month? I already forgot. No, we didn't. Fantastic. Sell gems at 21. So even if we sold them right now, we'd still be making a profit. We bought a bunch of it at like 1 or 2, right? Early on. It's not too bad. Yep, hospital and security is starting to get some people in it. Yeah, I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna hold off on buying stuff. So when the game starts, you're gonna really have a heavy dependency on your taxes. Taxes are going to be what really greases the wheels, so you can get a lot of the basic structures online and really start to get your feet wet. As the game progresses, you'll be able to supplement that with more trade income, and you'll have to rely on taxes less and less and less. That's, of course, depending on how you play. I usually build like a mega city of sorts, so my taxes, even like at 2% or 3% tax, is a lot of cash coming in. But still to point, you'll be making enough money on trade, you can cut that tax rate down to 0, and it'll be a lot easier on your peoples. They'll be a lot happier because they're not paying taxes. It's pretty sweet. Oh, cool, fuel. How... Okay. It is right there. So let's... The way I do this is I get the map centered. Kind of. Hey, perfect. So it's 2, 3 over. So we need a chemical plant. Ooh, pricey. So it's right there. And let's confirm that real quick, because I don't want to build a bunch of these facilities and have them wasted. Oh, there's a ton of fuel. Okay, but yes, I got the corner of it. See, so I switched to maps. Here's the scaffold menu, and then here is the actual resource menu. Great. Fuel is excellent. We're going to build a few of these facilities, maybe 1 or 2 more to get us started. These won't take up occupancy in the store. They'll take up occupancy in their own fuel tanks. Ugh, I didn't make enough money for even 1 more, huh? Cool. A couple of thousand we can get from food is excellent. I'm going to sell my tech. Still going to keep my gems and all that other garbage. There's that. So there's 2 facilities. How much for a fuel tank? 3,000! It's more expensive than living quarters. Well, it kind of tells you exactly how we feel about our people, huh? So, basic things to pay attention to. The power plants pollute, so we want to keep them away from residential. Security is good around power plants, also around residential. I think, I don't think I've ever really read facts or guides or whatever how to play this game, but it's just been playing it long enough and such. You just kind of pick up a couple of things. Industry is good near houses. Hospitals are good near houses. I don't think hydroponics or air production facilities, the life support structures, matter too much. But getting these things online quickly is what pays off long term. Like I said, and I've said this a couple times now, since the factories can't hire everyone immediately, it's good to build one or two of these structures and ramp up, because that's how the game operates. It's not like, oh, new factory, we can hire 80 people. Bam. Next turn, 80 of your people are gone. And that's kind of a good thing, considering when you're starting, if you built, let's say, 4 hydroponics, and then all your people immediately become farmers, the big issue is now you have no builders. That could be embarrassing. We're going to jack this up a little bit. 18 sounds good. We need to keep an eye on our quality of life, but every dollar really counts this early on. Oh, awesome. Sell that food. Food is nearly disposable with how much of it I end up making. So let's check our... Okay, so we're producing 400 air, 300 food, and plenty of power. We're still an entire factory above the water, so that's good. We're going to crank down 2 or 3 more food production facilities, considering how much we're selling as well. So there's that. Oh, can I do one more? Was it 2,500? No, it was 1,500. Awesome. I'm happy with that. So I think another chemical plant, and then turrets. I think I'd like a couple of turrets here. Since this is going to be an important part of my industry, I at least want a few turrets around here. I wish I could find ore. Ore is a little more important. Fuel, obviously, get your tanks able to move, get your aircraft off the ground, that sort of thing. Pretty darn important. But ore is what turns it into weapons, turns it into the componentry you need for everything. First chemical plant, awesome. Second chemical plant, chemical. Why do I talk like that? Thank God for them chemicals. Get them chemical plants online. Okay, our quality of life dropped 5%. That makes sense, we jacked up the tax rate. As long as we're taking care of other components like security and making sure that our people are at least well fed and everything, we're still in pretty good shape. I wouldn't mind building a sports complex. I've never built a sports complex this early in the game before, but I haven't played it in a while. It's interesting. Let's give it a try. I think I'm just going to dump it right where I had that landing pad. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure the rules for the sports complex. End game, I just build as many as I can, drop the tax to 0, and then deal with the aliens. Now, I should talk about that a little bit before this episode draws to a close. The aliens are on some side of the map. We'll never see them. They don't have a visible base, so if we come here, there's not like aliens right here. So the waypoints are really just for our purposes of moving. Oh, ore deposits! Yes! Awesome. I don't know if I just wasn't paying attention or I didn't notice that or whatever, but good. Any ore is awesome. I'm happy for that. What was I saying? Oh yeah, the alien base isn't here. It's off the map. It's on one direction. You tell your tanks, go to alien colony, and they'll just go off the map. That's it. And then you'll get a spy report later on saying how the battle went. So there's not really a defend this side only. Like, it's not like a traditional strategy game where you can see your enemy and you can see what they're doing. It's kind of like you're fighting a ghost. It's a little interesting about that because you're just really not part of the combat. You build the tanks, you send them into battle, and that's kind of the last you see of them. Okay, year 1 done. Got a lot of explanations out of the way. We're going to finish up January, and then I'm going to call this an episode. Like I said, game runs a little slow to get out the gate. Yeah, fuel. Sell it. I need more cash money than I need war right now. $1 to sell my tech? Are you high? No way. No way, son. Mines are 5,000. Okay. Let's check our advisors to see where we're at on a couple of things. Otherwise, I think this has been a successful first episode. We're good on food. We're good on power. Good on fuel that we're not even using. I'm happy with that. How are we on? There we go. Population density. We're birthing, what is that? 17 people a month? That's pretty significant. Yeah, and now we're at 311 people. That 45 or whatever we bought from Earth, we just bought the people. That sounds terrible. That we transported here to help us out really is paid off. The colony's developing well, good. There's only like 1 or 2 of those guys I actually ever talked to. But where's life support? Life support's expensive. I think I want another hydroponics, another store, and then I'm going to save up next turn or month or whatever for a life support. And then I think we're going to get ore and everything else figured out. This is one of those games when I looked at it and I saw the small actual playable screen. I was like, this is ridiculous. I've played games like this before. It was called Populous and I didn't like it. I just couldn't get my head wrapped around it because the game didn't even make it to the full size of the screen. And once you really start looking at it and you really start playing it, it's like, you know what, this isn't bad. This isn't bad at all. This works for the limitations the Super Nintendo had, and it's not bad at all. I like it. Oh yeah, next turn, residential. I almost completely forgot. People get irritated as crap with you if they don't have a place to live. Big surprise. Big surprise. Okay. Gonna finish this month out, build my stuff, call it an episode. Ding. Thank you. 1. Oh! Offers 84 men. That's a big chunk of change. I think we're okay. If it was half that, I would totally do it. But that's a lot of money right now. Good. Hydroponics, that's done. Always trade, that's fresh every month. And food, dump it, sell it, get it out. What else? Sell weapons at 25? That's not bad. That's a good price. Considering, like I said, bought it for 1, not a bad deal. Okay. Next month will get us a life support, and then we'll be able to get the rest of our economy online. So, thanks for joining me, guys. I appreciate it, and I'll catch you next time.